Hi everybody, this is Pinky with Pinky Jackson Organizing, and I'm a professional home organizer. I'm based in Louisville, Kentucky, but I do virtual organizing all over the country. And I normally also do remote organizing, which means I travel to remote destinations to organize for other people. But right now it is May 12th, 2020, and we are experiencing a worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. So traveling is not advisable. So I'm staying right here in Louisville, Kentucky, and organizing for as many clients as I can safely, and doing a great deal of virtual organizing. And I have learned something from these last couple of few weeks of virtual organizing with clients that I wanted to share with you because I think it's really important. And I wanted to not only stress the importance of the collaboration and the shift in paradigms that probably needs to happen in relationship to multi-generational home sharing. But I also wanted to share it because it is one of my favorite parts of helping clients with their homes. So it's both, I think, a really timely thing to help those of you who are using your homes now for so many more purposes than you did a few months ago, but also just to share how much I would love to help you through this. But first, look what I have on. Okay, I have to give a shout out to my friend Terry Sawyer with Park Lane Jewelry. Oh my God, she's amazing. And these are from her, and I love them so much. I kind of forgot I had them on until I looked at the wrong place on the camera and saw that, oh, there's me. And look at these great jewelry, these great earrings, and this wonderful scarf, which was a gift from my wonderful sister Claire. So just want to bring that up because you know what? Women supporting other women in their business is important, and sisters being there for sisters is important. And those actually kind of relate to what I wanted to share with you today. First of all, just, please, if you're a woman in business and there's something that I can do to help you and support you get organized or be more productive during this downtime, let's chat because I really love doing that. And whether you are a sister or you have a sister or you know a sister, helping people in their homes, helping siblings, families, parents, little kids, big kids in their homes get organized in a way that really respects everybody in the family and respects a sustainable process is so important and so helpful as we navigate these really changing times. So here's what I'm noticing in the homes that I am seeing, only a few of which I'm seeing in person right now. Most of them I'm seeing through the camera lens, right? So, excuse me, it's been a long day and I love my tea. Through the camera lens, when I'm doing an off-site session, when I'm working with clients and they're taking their phone or their tablet around the house and they're showing me what it is that they're working with, what a big shift, a big change for me this has been that it used to be I set an appointment with a client, and it was nice if you could have like both of the decision makers, if they're two decision makers, mom and dad, husband and wife, two partners, wife and wife, husband and husband, whoever's needing help. If both of the people that are the adults in the house, if there are two adults in the house, can be there, the session works really well because they maybe are the only decision makers. But often it's only just one person. One person was motivated to get organized, or one person was gifted with organizing. It's a great Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduation, Christmas gift to give someone a gift certificate, and then I get them organized. It's really a nice gift. So it's usually just one person, sometimes two. But that's really changed now that excuse me, now that more people are home in many homes. I'm actually seeing a really neat development and improvement in my services when everybody who lives in the house, or as many people as possible that live in the house, can be there while we're virtually organizing. It's really been wonderful. A couple different reasons. Number one, it allows me to get a perspective directly from the horse's mouth, if you will. I always ask my client to tell me about the people in the family and what their needs are, what their spaces are, what their habits are, as far as their schedules and, as far as anything that's working for them and not working for them. But if I can hear that directly from the person, and if the other people in the family can hear that while we're all together on a Zoom call, that's really, really helpful. Sometimes we don't have the time, or we don't know to take the time to sit down and say, okay, this works really well for me, but this feels like clutter to me. This is clutter that I like and it works well. This is where I feel like you're crossing the line, and this is where I feel like I'm crossing the line, or whatever someone needs to share. I actually guide clients through questions that allow them to just inform me in a way that is not threatening or triggering, usually, unless someone really wants to be triggered, then we can do that, right? To the other people in the house. The questions are designed to just educate me on what works and doesn't work for individuals and then for the family unit. And a lot of shifts are happening, and one of those is that more people are needing by necessity to co-house or to have their adult children living, or to bring their mother over from the nursing home or assisted living back home temporarily so that she's not a complete lockdown, and things like that are happening. And people are starting to second guess congregational living for seniors, and they're starting to second guess having everybody over the age of 18 in the family having their own home or apartment and their own set of bills and responsibilities. People are starting to kind of think, why do we do that? Personally, I'm a big fan of multi-generational living. I'm kind of a romantic, and it makes me think of the good old days. Part of it is just environmentally, it's a much kinder, gentler footprint on the earth. And then I also see it as much less stressful, especially for young adults who kind of get out of high school and get out of college, and boom, they think they have to do everything themselves and, get an apartment and get their own place. And for some of them, that's a really good idea, but for a lot of people, it's not. And staying at home exactly in the way they were as a child, as a minor, may also not be a good idea, right? So some shifts have to happen. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, is that when you're, whether you're elders or your middle generation or your seniors, so no matter who, I'm speaking generally from the perspective of the middle part of the sandwich, not the young adults and not the senior citizens, but the kind of middle-aged folks who may be sandwiched between a couple of generations. But this could easily be seen from younger generations and older generations on how to support that middle generation, right? So we'll just kind of filter it that way. I'll ask you to filter it that way, no matter who you are in that paradigm, in that dynamic, rather, no matter what role you fill. How can you shift a little bit to make this time of this pandemic easier on you and easier on the members of the family? How can you get organized with your schedule, with your emotions, and with your physical belongings to where this works better, to where, even if it's working good now, working well now, how can it work even better? Whether that's so that you can be productive now, or whether it's so that long-term down the future you can continue this if you want. Or what I really wanted to jump on here and talk about this today is that a lot of people, I think, are getting kind of stir crazy, a little cabin fever, and we're getting closer to the end of spring and closer to the beginning of summer. And I think if for those folks who need or want and can continue more frequent isolating, more frequent quarantining, more frequent healthy at home, less time out doing a lot of activities outside or at other locations, and spending more time at home in order, for whatever their reasons are, whether it's to make themselves less vulnerable to the virus, or whether it's to take care of people who need that, whatever that may be, or they have to because they're living at home, they're taking care of the house, they're working from home, they're taking care of children, all of that. You may just be in the home more. And I think that we're kind of now down from the original, like, oh goodness, I got to get it together and organize and change things, to now maybe we're in that place where it's getting maybe a little monotonous, or it's less new, and therefore we're maybe taking each other for granted, or we're not taking the time to be really thoughtful about what shifts we need to make, or what adjustments to a plan we already had a month ago that maybe is not working as well today, right? So what I like to do when I'm on a call or in a meeting with a whole family is I really like to facilitate a conversation that makes it really clear who needs what, who values what, and what space can be collaboratively organized, right? So it's surprising to me, it's not as surprising as it used to be, but it still is surprising that people who grew up in the same home, with the same family, in the same socioeconomic, system, have very different values and sometimes even very different resources. And so it's important that now that if our kids are grown, or our kids are middle age, or our parents are in their 80s, that we still find out what those values and resources are, right? That we have an understanding. And if we have young adults in our house, that we realize that we're not the parent anymore in the same way we were the parent when they were younger. Our role has changed. We went from being the pilot, taking the flight where it needed to go, being in charge, taking care of safety, direction, decisions, to maybe being the co-pilot. Or maybe even, if they're even older, or more independent, maybe we're just another passenger on the same plane, right? So we need to let go of old roles and move forward in a new way, so that together we can decide how to organize the home, and how to be productive in the home, and how to be playful in the home, and how to have recreation as a family or individually, and what systems we need to put in place in order to stay organized, productive, and de-stressed, right? So that would be the first thing I would ask you to do, is consider if you need to reconsider your roles and how you interact. And instead of it being kind of a power dynamic because it's a parent who needs to control everything, instead it's much more collaborative, right? We're looking at things maybe instead of majority rules, or instead of the oldest person in the house rules, more as a consensus. And what can we say, yes, I feel strongly about this, and or maybe, no, you know what, I don't feel strongly about this one way or the other. I'll stand aside and let the people who are most passionate about this make those decisions, and then I will adhere to those. I will back that up. Just because you step out of the process and maybe you don't care as much about how the refrigerator is organized as maybe two other people in your family care about, if you don't care enough about it to where you back out of the decision making, then once the decision is made, you need to support that decision, right? It's not a kind of, you don't want a passive aggressive, well, I didn't decide, I don't care. No, the people who did the work of deciding how to organize this for the home and for the family, those folks need to get your support. And it could be because you're in there deciding too, or you could just decide, no. And it might not be easy for you. It might not be easy for you to decide yes or no on something. And you may be really clear that, say the family decides, let's see, here's an example. I had a client who really needed a new organizing space for everybody's landing gear when they come in the house, right? So you walk in and you've got your keys, and maybe you've got change in your pocket, and maybe you've got your wallet, your phone, your charger, just whatever you have when you walk in the door. And maybe your bedroom or your personal space is upstairs or downstairs or not right there. And we walk in the door, we've got a grocery bag, and we kind of drop everything in whatever those landing places are, whether those be intentional or unintentional, right? And So I was doing a virtual organizing session with a family, and the mom was the only one who took me into an area, and we saw a really good area where these particular places, a landing basket actually, could go really easily for everybody in the family, but she was the only one on the call at that time to decide yes or no, was this going to work, right? So she loved it, it worked for her, but I kind of gave her some homework, which is to check in with each person in the family and see how she could explain her needs to them about not having it scattered all over. In this case, it was the dining room table. You walk in and there's a dining room table, and like the whole dining room table was filled with everybody's stuff because that was just the habit they were in. But she really wanted a cleared off dining room table so that the family could sit down and easily have a meal together at a table. So we developed a system, but she still needs to go back to all of the adults in the house and some of the non-adults, but old enough, over 10 years old, maybe over 13, whatever works for you to where you think they should have more agency, more dominion over that. And that being said, dominion over your space and your items is different than dominion over your items in a space that's not yours. How we arrange our items in our bedroom is different than how we arrange our items on the dining room table or the kitchen table, something that's communal space, right? So that's something that you also will want to make sure that in our striving to not let everyone feel really good and included, that we're letting everybody have stuff everywhere, because that may not be what you want, right? With most people, they want a little bit more boundaries with that, just so they can continue to do the activity on the table or the desk or the craft room table that they want to have done on that the space was designed to be used for. So that's really important too. So there's a balance between, as Rudolf Steiner would say, form and freedom, right? My Waldorf friends, it would be some balance between form and freedom. So you need to look at that, but you look at it differently when everybody in the house is an adult. And I really think this is particularly important to kind of sharpen those skills, kind of build that muscle when you're looking at the possibility of being in a home with a senior citizen or with a couple senior citizens, because they too are going to have certain items that they want certain places, and a system is really, really important to respect that. But if you're dealing with anyone who has some mobility issues or some memory loss or some safety issues, you have to take that into consideration. And it may be that things have to change quite a bit in order to accommodate someone's physical safety or accommodate just their mental needs, just what they're needing. So that's really important to look at that as well. And like I say, it's such a fun part. It's such a fun part of the work that I do. For those of you who don't know, I come from a very large family, including our adopted sister. There are 13 of us. So, and then when I went off to school, I had 100 sorority sisters, and so I am used to being in these really big groups. My family of 5 feels really small to me, but to some people, my immediate family of 5, but to some people that's a lot. But I feel really grateful that I've had a lifelong experience of having to collaborate with a number of people in order to have a functioning home and in order for everyone to feel respected, and it's not easy, I'm not as great as I want to be. Every day I learn something more about how I can do a better job of that. But the intentionality, I think, will go a long way. And I just really want everyone to be thinking about that right now, because we may be in this together a little bit longer than we anticipate, with just who knows what's going to be happening on a health basis or on an economic basis for the next several months or more. And B, I want you to think about it, because I would love to help you with this. I mean, I just absolutely love consulting with a family and giving them advice and creating an action plan for them and seeing how happy they are. And also, I love being the one to kind of get thrown under the bus, if you will, if there's something that's been a little awkward and there's a little difficulty getting over an obstacle, I can bring the questions about that without having any buttons that anybody's going to push. Everyone's going to know I'm not intentionally pushing their buttons because I don't know them and their buttons, and they're probably not going to find my buttons because this is not my first rodeo. So my buttons are pretty chill, and I really have no judgment at all. I have zero judgment about why someone's doing or not doing something, or has or doesn't have something. But I really love helping people solve problems, and I really love helping people overcome obstacles that will help them have an organized, beautiful home and a really wonderful relationship with everybody in their family. That's important to me. So I wanted to put that out there for you all to be thinking of. I wanted to invite you to take a look at my website if you want to set up a free session with me. I'm doing free and complimentary, same thing, consultations to help you kind of assess your needs. And once I see it and can assess what's working for you, what's not, then I can recommend some services that we can offer to you. And I'd love to do that. And you can set up one of those consultations just directly on my website. My calendar's on my website. So just go to pinkyjackson.com, and pinky like your small finger, pinky, with a Y, Pinky. So pinkyjackson.com, and there's a button there that says learn more or schedule your free consultation, and I would be happy to help you. And I hope this message has been helpful to you. And as always, take good care, and remember, you deserve to be happy. Thanks. Bye-bye.